Willow.
And I'm Destiny, and this is Inside the Movie,
where we give you the inside scoop on all the latest movies.
Today, the movie we will be discussing is the Netflix movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile.
This movie is about the crimes of the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy, told through the perspective of his longtime girlfriend. It's based on the book The Phantom Prince, My Life of Ted Bundy, written by Elizabeth Colford.
Okay, now that we got all the boring stuff out of the way, let's get into our discussion. So, the first part that really captured our attention was the acting. The acting in the movie was something that just really made the movie what it was. It was something that I can really say that was what I really enjoyed. Like, the way that the actor Zac Efron really captured Ted Bundy's essence was really like something that I have never really seen before in a movie like that.
Like, I appreciate how he actually embodied the character. He actually got into it because, some actors in movies, they just get the character and they kind of just, just play it instead of actually making it themselves. And I feel like Zac Efron actually did that, which is a really good skill to have, because if you're able to dive into that character and make it yourself, it just makes the movie 10 times easier to watch.
Plus, he really got through all the controversy. Everybody kept saying that oh, he gave too much sex appeal, that he couldn't do it because of his past movies, when people forget that the whole reason Ted Bundy was how he was because he was charming, he was attractive, and he gave off that trusting factor, because I guess people think that attractive people are trusting.
Right. But that was his whole thing. So I feel like them making sure that Ted Bundy still was attractive by using Zac Efron actually kind of played the story a little bit better than I think anyone else. And they do have some characteristics that look pretty well.
Yeah, they did look pretty similar. And just he really embodied that character. He really did a really good job.
He got into it. So let's show you a clip of Zac Efron actually embodying his character, playing his character just so perfectly.
Your name, sir, was on that verdict. Take care of yourself, young man. I say that to you sincerely. Take care of yourself. You're a bright young man. You'd have made a good lawyer. I would have loved to have you practice in front of me. But you went a different way, partner. It has been a tragedy for this court to see the total waste of humanity that we have experienced here.
And that scene was one of the performances that really captivated me. You could see that his performance was so superb in a way. And the way that his eyes were watering and his mouth was quivering, you could tell that he put in so much effort into that character.
It was really believable. He actually really got into character, and I really give him kudos to that. And also I give kudos to the director, Joe Berlinger, because he picked Zac Efron exactly. He really wanted him. So I just feel like Zac Efron, he really took the time to really get into that character and actually play it, actually live it as if he was Ted Bundy. And that's something really hard for actors nowadays to do. So I think he did a really good job on that.
Another thing in that clip that you saw was the clothing. Now, that was something that I loved about the movie, the detailing, the little details, the cars and certain places that they were the whole.
From January to July of 1974, the King County area was engulfed in a wave of fear as young women were being attacked and murdered with alarming regularity.
Georgianne Hawkins was last seen Monday evening shortly after midnight. She had been visiting at the Beta House and was returning to her house just a half block away down this alley.
King County police have started their investigation after Jan Assad and Denise Naslund vanished from Lake Sammamish State Park. At least 7 people at the crowded beach saw a smooth-talking man with his arm in a cast asking several women to help him load a boat onto a Volkswagen.
So in that scene, you see how Ted and Elizabeth, they are having so much fun with Elizabeth's daughter, but you hear all these horrific crimes going on in the background, and it kind of reminded me of when I'm at home and I turn on the TV and you're watching the news, and you hear about these horrific crimes going on, and that really helped me get into the movie, because it really kind of felt like, oh, this is going on right next to me. It really helped me get into the movie more. It didn't just make me feel like I was just sitting there watching in my own house. I felt like I was actually there in the 80s, near them and this was going on, you know?
And then like another thing that I want to point out in that like clip was that the like filtering, like it made you feel like you were watching like a home movie or some sort. Like you're
It was like the
going
grainy
like
effects.
yeah, the grainy effect, and like you were putting in like you
The
know how they
film.
had like the film,
Right,
they
yeah,
put it
the
in the
film.
TVs, and it made you feel like that, like you were like back in that time. And I really thought that was just a
That
good
was a really good
quality.
editing choice.
Like that was a really good editing choice. I really like that. Another thing that we can point out in that like scene and the different scenes of that clip was the lighting. The lighting was something about like that movie. The lighting was something that you really like had to pay attention to, but it also like it was something that was there. Like you
It was
felt
like a small detail that really helped push around the story. Like it really helped make the story go, because in the lighting, it was kind of darkish. The whole movie kind of had like a little bit of a dark kind of feel to it, but the lighting just kind of helped that story. And a really great clip of where we can see the lighting just being awesome and everything was actually when they were standing on the porch. And so Ted and Elizabeth, they were standing there and they had the porch light, but it was only dim. It wasn't really like really bright.
and you could see like half their faces. And one thing about that whole scene, it just made me feel so uncomfortable in the store. Like just showing half their faces and like the lighting in it, the way that like Ted came, like it was awkward and it was uncomfortable, and like the whole feel of the movie made you feel that way in a sort. Like it made you feel like something was off about him. Like another part where like they were in the police station and they were questioning him. Like that whole scene, the lighting was dim, but you could still see his face, and like it gave you like this feel of like
creepy
creepiness. And I thought that was a really good thing to have, especially in a movie like this and with a character like his, because like to anybody else, he seemed like a good guy, like a normal person, but little silence moments, and little moments where like the lighting would show his face, you got that feeling of feeling off. Like you got that feeling of something was wrong here. And I thought that was a really good thing, and that gives I give kudos to the director, because who would have thought to do something like that, especially with something like this?
Small thing to just really help the story. Because we all know Ted Bundy, he was a serial killer. That I really like how they played on our emotions, kind of wanted us to get on Ted's side and not to really like think about he was actually doing it. Because I think that if they didn't have that aspect in the movie, I don't think the movie would have been as good as it was.
I agree.
I just think it would have been more, like kind of just like, oh, well, we know he did it. It's gonna happen.
We waited for it.
But I was kind of like, did he really do it? I feel bad for Ted. Somebody let Ted out of jail.
Yeah, like I felt really bad for him. And then like another thing, the fact that the perspective was in Elizabeth's, like the fact that was the whole movie, I enjoyed that so much, because if it was in his perspective, it would have been like, okay, he's a serial killer, we know he's crazy, like something's going on in his brain. Like I don't think that would have been as interesting, but to see how others saw him and how others felt for him and how others like thought of him as this wonderful person, and then for their world to just crash down when these murders start popping up, and then a sketch artist sketches him and he looks exactly like your boyfriend. Like that's something that I feel like was such a good thing. Like that really made the movie for me, because if it was in his perspective, I don't think I would have enjoyed it that much.
Right, and I also like how they just didn't incorporate that like gory,
Yeah,
horror movie vibe. It was a drama. Actually, the movie is a drama, and it's not a horror film. So I like how they didn't include like bloodiness and just like
the killings, like
right.
they didn't show it, but like we heard it. We heard the news, and like they would like certain parts of the movie they would tell you about like the crimes and things, but we never saw it. And I thought that was really good as well, because like if I would have saw it, I would have been like, I can't watch this. I'm not gonna watch this, because some people that's being a serial killer and things of that sort. It's uneasy. Like like you don't want to watch that. You don't want to see someone get hurt or killed. And I mean, there's other movies for that, and there's horror, but this is a drama film. And I thought that was a really good thing on Joe Berlinger's, the director's thing. I thought that was really good of him to not let them put any goriness in it, and to make you not be subjected to it.
But one thing I really adored about this movie, I loved, was just the fact that they incorporated that historical aspect into it through the scripts. So they incorporated some of what actually was said in the courtroom scenes and stuff, and they put it actually in the movie, and the character, the actors, they had to say it. But I really think that was like one of the best things that they did. So here's a clip of what we're exactly talking about. They were in the courtroom, and this is what the judge said.
It is this court's reasoned judgment you be adjudicated guilty of murder in the first degree, that the killings were indeed atrocious and cruel, in that they were extremely wicked, shockingly evil, vile, and with utter indifference to human life.
That scene, you can hear the judge's words, and those were actual words that he said to Ted when he was being sentenced. I thought that was such a cool thing to incorporate, like actual words from the actual judge, and like even other court scenes and like other scenes, they incorporated different words that were being said and like different things that happened, and I thought that was really cool because it really made you, like, it was real. It made you feel as if it was real, because I mean this was a real event in time, and he was this like serial killer who like killed more than 30 women. Like, he really was this person, and it made you really understand that. So I thought that was really cool.
For me, I just feel like when they incorporated that historical aspect, it really sealed the deal for me. It made me actually feel like I was there and like it was happening right in front of me, instead of me just, sitting in my house watching it. It really just gave that, it just really gave that real factor, and that didn't make it feel artificial and like it was actually a movie. Like, it really made it, really good, and it just kind of really helped with the overall feel of this movie, which I honestly love this movie for that one reason. And that's why I would give this movie a 10 out of 10, or we would give this movie a 10 out of 10, because it just really captivated your attention. It made you feel like you were there, and that you just really felt good when you were watching it. You didn't feel like you were just sitting in front of a screen. It was more like it was happening right in front of you. The acting was amazing. I love like the attention, the subtle details that they had going on. And I just loved how this movie was how it was put together and overall.
I agree with everything you said. And like the fact that, like you said, like watching the movie, it made you like feel like you were there. Like, I didn't feel as if I was just watching this movie and like it was boring. And like, I was interested. I was constantly like, what's gonna happen next? Like, what is he gonna do? Like, is this gonna happen? Like, I was constantly questioning the movie, and it made me question my morality. And like, I feel like it did that to others too, because it's like this whole time you're rooting for this guy, and you're like, I know that he did these things, but in the back of your mind, and the way this movie makes it play out, that you're like, okay, maybe he's being framed, or maybe this is happening, and maybe this isn't really him, or like maybe that things, and then like plot twists. The plot twists were like
amazing, like,
wonderful,
really
like some things that you would have never guessed happened, and I just enjoyed that factor a lot. Like, I enjoy movies that make me think, and this movie was one of them. It made me want to like go do more research, and it made me want to understand more, and it made me want to like actually go look at the book, The Phantom Prince, and like see what she wrote all about him. And it was just a really good movie for like thinking and like learning, and I really enjoyed it for that factor.
Right, because some movies they just do, watch it, keep going. But this movie, it was like, watch it, think more about it, and just kind of find the deeper overall message in this movie. So we would strongly suggest this movie to mature audiences only because it contains adult language and some sexualized scenes, but we can talk about that. It's really mature.
But they weren't like bad. Like, one thing
terrible.
that we talked about this movie was not being subjected to like gore things, but you weren't really subjected to the nudity as well. Like, it wasn't that bad, but some scenes were a little like uncomfortable.
Just a little out there.
So
mature audiences only.
Yeah, please. And we hope that you enjoy this movie as much as we did, because we really like thought that this movie was wonderful. So we hope that you liked it just as much as we did.
So my name is Willow.
And I'm Destiny.
And this was Inside the Movie. Tune in next week when we talk about the Joker. Thank you and have a great day.